What's the difference in you now and the sweet dreams, Annie?
Well, Arsenio, I don't know. I guess I'm older and wiser and more experienced and less naive, perhaps, you know, and I've been through a lot, a great deal.
Yeah. Will there ever be a reunion?
I don't think so. I think when things have their time, you know, they have their passage, and I don't think that there's a point in holding on to something just because it was good once. I like to move forward and to grow and change, yeah.
You know, there were some people on my staff talking about shows of the past, and still a lot of my audio guys and staff feel that the acoustic jam that you and Dave did right here, my first year, was like one of the baddest moments we ever experienced. They just sat with an acoustic guitar and went at it. You remember that?
I do, yes. And I was very touched, actually, because people came up to me and reminded me of it. And that's great. You see, that's my payback when I know that people have been moved enough to remember something like that, because I've done so many concerts and had so many experiences on stage that if somebody comes back to me years ahead and says, do you remember that concert? It means something to me. So I was delighted by that. Yeah.
Let's talk about the word diva. I've had some singers here that have taken offense to the word, because for some people, diva is a bad word. It means like she's a bitch. Yes. Other people have a positive connotation, like Patti LaBelle calls herself a diva.
Yes, it's a mixture of two things. It's a mixture of a sort of monstrous female persona, performing type of person. And it's also something that is magnificent and wonderful. And I've lived it, and I do live it, because it's part of my whole expression as a performer. I think the difficulty arises when the performer, the diva, becomes the person off stage. And part of my growing up, perhaps, is that I now really make that distinction. When you are a young artist and you're developing, you must concentrate almost in a sort of nun-like fashion to really devote yourself, whatever you're doing, if you be an athlete or a singer like myself or a painter, whatever it is. And I found that in my position as a performer, it was very easy for me to lose touch with the common reality, day-to-day things. And because you are flying from coast to coast and city to city, and people are seeing you and you're very exposed, that you become that entity. I become Annie Lennox that everybody has seen before. And the person shrinks. And you have to expose yourself to other experiences. So when Eurythmics played the last concert, I just took some time to regain myself, if you like. I wasn't really suffering, it wasn't that. It was just more that I needed to breathe, and I needed to rediscover a person that wasn't simply a performer that went on stage night after night and became a sort of one-dimensional character. And it was after that I was able to rediscover the fun of making music again. And that's really what drew me into trying to write songs of my own.
Yeah. I pulled a quote when I introduced you that referred to you as white soul, da-da-da-da-da-da. Does that bug you? I hate when I'm the black talk show host.
Look, everybody...
You know, it's irritating because
yeah.
I'm the talk show host.
Well, you're going to be that because, I mean, anything that you do connected with media is going to define you and label you in distinctive categories, and that is unavoidable. I think what's mainly important is that you don't lose touch with who you are, and I think soul has no color, so let's just get that right.
Yeah, check that out. And while we're at it, I'd like to go out on a limb and say, talk has no color.
And I'd just like to say one more thing.
Yeah. While we're at it, tomorrow's gonna, when is MTV Awards tomorrow? Tomorrow?
Yeah, they are tomorrow, yes.
That's gonna be a big night for you?
Not really. I mean, it'll be a big place and there'll be a lot of people there, but it doesn't really mean a great deal to me. It's just going to be another surrealistic experience, I think, to be quite frank with you.
When you first hit and you went through different looks, how did MTV react to you when you sent your video? I mean...
Well, I have to be very grateful to them in a way, or to that whole sort of medium, really, because it exposed Eurythmics in such a way that if we had done 50,000 gigs in the States and gone all around the places, you know, on the club circuit and everything, there was no way that we could have ever been exposed to people in that context. And now MTV are doing a thing where they record you live. You know, and I've just done that. I've just done an unplugged for them. And that's wonderful because they're trying to expose something that can't be taken away from you. It's not just a video thing. I'm a performer. I like to perform. I also like to make videos too. What was the question?
Because I remember the first time I saw you on a video, I said, that's a guy. No, that's not a guy. You know, and it was like, oh. You know, when I realized, and I wondered how they reacted when they first got your video.
People always react in all kinds of different ways. And I think, yeah, there were all sorts of reactions to me all over the world. And it was hard for me to live along with that labeling. You mentioned that earlier. And of course, there were all sorts of reactions, like, is it a guy, or whatever. It didn't really matter. What I wanted to do, in actual fact, was to be myself and to not be the stereotyped kind of bimbo that you always see portrayed, you know, who's simply a sort of passive sex object, and that's just so boring. And yeah. You're all very conscious people, aren't you? You're all politically aware.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and they love you. She's going to be back to do another song later. This is Annie Lennox.